Thank you for joining us as we honor and recognize the many contributions of Kim and Brad Henry. As we were thinking about our honorees, we could not think of two better individuals who promote and are examples of the mission and work of OCCJ of achieving respect and understanding for all Oklahomans. Their contributions have been fantastic. Whether it is improving interfaith relations and reaching out to religious groups who have been set aside and forgotten and ignored, or advocating for education. We know Kim has been a lifelong supporter of education. And of course, the many philanthropic initiatives that they support. We are much better because of them, and we are so thankful for their service.
The tradition and the legacy of the Henrys started before Brad and Kim, started at least with their grandparents, and interestingly, it will continue through their children. So it's something that I've witnessed their entire lives. Well, I think my favorite story is sitting in my office, them talking to me about the governor's race, me telling them I saw no possibility of Brad winning, but because of my commitment to, affection for, and respect for the Henrys, that I would support him, and was delighted when he won. I think nothing is more pertinent than their commitment to education, and as a consequence, Kim and Brad founded a thing called Smart Start, which led into the creation of a pre-K and a kindergarten for all public schools. And Brad, as being governor, was able to provide public financing for them. Well, that's just one example of their participation.
Well, I would like for people to see about Brad and Kim. The one thing is the sacrifice that they have made. I think if you look at the things that they have experienced, putting themselves out on the line for the sake of people. When you run for office, you're really not running for yourself. You run with a mind to say, I want to serve others. When you do as Kim Henry has done and place yourself in position to lead an organization like SARCIS, you're saying, I'm putting myself in position to be talked about, to be examined, to be discussed, but also the sacrifice that she has made, the sacrifice that he has made to make our community better is evident in the positions that they've held, the positions that they've tried to hold, and positions that they are holding right now as citizens who are still involved in trying to make Oklahoma better. Allowing themselves to know folk, allowing themselves to meet people, allowing themselves to go into the places where some people will not go, to make those connections, to be able to say that they have at least a touch of the communities that they serve. And so I think OCCJ and the Henrys are a great match. I think they do the kind of work that expands the community and draws the community together at the same time.
I can tell you that Kim is the driving force behind Brad Henry. And I have seen them, how they both love each other and they fell in love. I mean, every time you look at them and by just looking at each other and how they support each other, you know that they both are thinking alike and they both are doing the same thing. So their work has not stopped. Right now, they are working on a daily basis to make Oklahoma a better place for everybody. So when there were challenges with the Muslim ban, the very first call I got was from Brad Henry, and he wanted to see how would that affect the Muslims in Oklahoma and what can he do to help. Brad and Kim are just at the forefront of helping people and making sure everybody's included.
Brad officially had as governor and Kim as first lady had the first iftar celebration, you know, the breaking the fast in Ramadan, in the mansion. And I was privileged to go there. And I met some young Muslim students who had palpable fear of prejudice and bias directed against them in Oklahoma. And it really made a great difference to them and set a great example for the governor of the state to say, you are Oklahomans too, and you are welcome in this mansion to celebrate the breaking of the fast of your important day.
Brad and Kim's work continue to impact across the state by participating, obviously, in this particular fundraising event for OCCJ. It shows how deep their commitment still is for our state, for helping our state to improve. Through this event, they are helping yet another outstanding nonprofit raise much needed funds to drive their programming, which is about the importance of educating us all in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Both Brad and Kim have also spent a lot of their time over the years serving on other nonprofit boards as well. And we know that Kim's leading the Sarkees Foundation, which makes charitable grants statewide. It's aimed at improving Oklahoma's lives, particularly in the support of social services, education, health-related nonprofits that serve fellow citizens right here in Oklahoma, meeting their basic human needs, the basic needs of food, healthcare, and housing.
Brad led the way in building strong relationships with our tribal nations. If you notice who the sponsors are here today, you can see the diversity that Brad and Kim Henry have built into their lives, and they set an example for all of us. I think the thing that is so important about OCCJ is we're trying to divide ourselves in so many ways. And there's so many organizations out there today that are saying, it's okay to be divided. It's okay to be wrong. OCCJ stands for, it's only okay to be together. And what it does through education, through bringing people together, is to try to get us as Americans to stop thinking about ways that we're different and start focusing on the ways that we are alike. And that's why it's important that events like this occur, because it allows this organization to create the funding that it needs to carry on its critical mission in these dark days in our country. I'm so privileged to be here today, and I'm so proud of my friends Brad and Kim Henry, and could not think of a better recipient of this year's award from OCCJ.
I think their entire lives have been spent showing examples of how important diversity and inclusion are for all of us. I believe that Brad truly believes that political office, when done correctly, is about service, and service to everyone, justice for all people. And I think everything they've done has shown their belief in those ideals. With Brad's business, he's working to bring companies into Oklahoma, Oklahoma companies who want to expand. Kim's work through the Sarkees Foundation, I think, is right up that alley. She works to give money to Oklahoma businesses, Oklahoma organizations that are going to make things better for people in Oklahoma. So she's done that not only on a personal level, but has chosen to do that as a profession.
Some of the things that we've been working on with inclusion, especially it's very topical, is with the Sarkees Foundation and the Black Justice Fund to start addressing equality, especially in the Oklahoma City area, but statewide, and why that exists and what programs we can put into place to meet those issues. So we're kind of excited to be a part of that.
Kim has a professional career running the Sarkees Foundation, and the Sarkees Foundation does wonderful things by providing funding for nonprofit organizations all across the state of Oklahoma, and they've accomplished so much under her leadership and guidance. But as accomplished as she is as a professional, what really stands out to me is what a great mother, and sometimes wife, but no, just kidding. What a great mother she is. She is a fabulous mother, and our 3 daughters are really lucky to have her. So.
I've been at the Sarkees Foundation for 11 years. I was on the board of directors for 6 years prior to that. So I've been affiliated with the foundation for over 17 years. And our mission is really to go around the state and give money to programs that assist those that are underprivileged or at risk in any certain demographic. So we're a statewide organization, and we really try to focus on the rural areas when we can, because we feel like there's less philanthropic support in the rural areas than what you'll find in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. You know, we have corporations, we have foundations, and there's an income base that you know can really support some philanthropy in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, but you might not see that in the rural areas. And so we try to come in and fill the gap and help those people that are struggling in those areas. So it's a very rewarding work, and I'm so thankful that my board has given me the opportunity and grace to do this.
I had the greatest pleasure in working with Kim, and only because of her leadership did the Sarkees Foundation guarantee a $4 million loan to Variety Care, which serves 125,000 people, most of whom do not have access to medical care, and built a new women and children's clinic in Britain. And Kim absolutely was the only way it developed.
Their administration really was a first family administration. I mean, Brad and Kim and the girls all played a role, but particularly, I would say, Kim was the stable force for good values and righteousness that doesn't wear itself on the sleeve, you know, just a basic decency and goodness that is just apparent when you're in the same room with Kim. And also Brad, but with Kim, it really is the glue that holds that family together, I think.
I think Kim's character has been very obvious from the early years. While she is so much fun and we have such a great time, she was very serious as a student. She was always the one that could think ahead and what was really important and what was really to come. She has been an incredible partner for Brad. I cannot think of a couple that is better together than those two are. She is bright, smart, and funny. That girl has a wit that would surprise most people, I think.
The Oklahoma Center for Community and Justice is dedicated to achieving respect and understanding for all people. We do this through programs, initiatives, and partnerships in the community. Our vision is to eliminate bias, bigotry, and racism in our state and in our generation. Our unique program, Anytown Leadership Institute, promotes young leaders to find their voice and advocate for themselves and their communities in creating social justice. I was able to attend Anytown when I was a high school student, and it opened my eyes to new opportunities and experiences. It encouraged me to be the leader that my community needs.
I attended in 1994. Actually, that was the very first year that we held Anytown in Oklahoma. Anytown sort of refined my vision to working specifically on behalf of multiculturalism, inclusion, and taking a stand against discrimination, which is something I have an opportunity to do both in my volunteer service with OCCJ as well as my career as a public interest attorney. You know, systemic oppression hasn't gone away, discrimination hasn't gone away. We still have patterns of residential segregation that's reflected in our schools, our places of worship, and so there is still a compelling need for a program that focuses on what positive steps our youth leaders can take to make our community more inclusive.
So my experience at Anytown was an amazing one. It started out as a delegate in 2017, and for a lot of people, I was the same way. I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no clue what Anytown was. It was something my mom signed me up for and said, "You're going this place for a week." So when I came and I just started talking to everyone, I realized how much of a family these people created and just how much you felt cared for, you felt loved. even if you knew no one. Like I said, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So just being able to have that unit out of the bus, day one, that was definitely my honing in experience as a delegate. I really want people to understand that any town is a place for everyone. Any town is a home for everyone. No matter your background, no matter your personal beliefs, you can come to any town and you can not only find someone that's going to be like you, but you can also find people that are going to be different and they're going to talk to you about their differences.
I basically go about explaining any town as kind of the best camp ever. I'm a little biased. It's definitely an eye-opening camp and 100% worth going. After becoming a delegate, I've gained a lot more empathy for people because you never know what someone's going through in life, essentially. And so just showing kindness and compassion, we call it the Anytown spirit, just trying to help others like as much as humanly possible.
As more and more companies are beginning to understand the benefits of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, we know that employees need resources and tools to be able to help move this diversity, equity, and inclusion forward. And so the Inclusive Leadership Institute helps provide that to participants, where they come together, they learn best practices and tangible, actionable things that they can do when they go back to their jobs, to have places where everyone feels welcome, accepted, and when everyone can thrive.
DE&I stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Understanding DE&I topics and initiatives in the workplace can sometimes be a challenge because people don't always have the language. And of course, that language is always evolving. So whenever we have opportunities to get together to discuss current topics on these issues, it creates an opportunity for more people to come together and to dive deeper and to stay up with the times on an ever-evolving topic. One of the most impactful moments for me at ILI was the opportunity to review a resume, not from the lens of an able-bodied individual, but to think of it through the eyes of somebody who has a disability. Whenever we reviewed that resume, it really opened my eyes to all of the things that able-bodied individuals take for granted and how we should be really mindful of how to make sure our job descriptions are as accessible as possible. Something that I would tell someone who's considering joining ILI is that they should absolutely do it and soak in every single moment, because not only will the lessons that they learn there be valuable beyond the actual institute, they'll be able to take that into their workplaces afterwards and to form really strong bonds and connections with other like-minded D&I focused individuals in the community.
It's very nice that Kim and I can receive this very prestigious honor. But at the end of the day, it's really about supporting the programs that OCCJ supports and sponsors that bring people together. You know, I think all of the programs at OCCJ are important, but the programs that I think will have the most lasting impact are the programs for the kids, beginning with second graders, because that's the best time to teach people that you know, we all want the same things. We're all very much alike.
The way I see things that OCCJ does is that by doing the programs they do, working with the schools at small age and working with the children, they can bring it to their attention a lot sooner than letting them grow up and then try to educate them at an older age. The buddy benches is my favorite story of the whole thing, and how if somebody is lonely at the school, they can go sit on a buddy bench, and somebody else, another person who understands that this person is lonely, would come and try to comfort their emotions.
Most great authors these days especially are trying to give children a window into other people's world. They're trying to build empathy. They're trying to make that connection with the sameness as opposed to the differentness that often divides us. I think in this time of great division in our country, that different and the same helps children and all of us through them learn how to be kind to each other and how to get along with each other. But just as importantly, it helps them to recognize prejudice, that implicit bias that is in all of us, whether we realize it or not, that has been planted there by our parents, our communities, our society, intentionally or unintentionally. It exists, and that's probably one of the most important lessons of the program, is that we have to recognize that it's there and dig it out. We got to pull the rug off of it and see it for what it is. And then I think that Different and the Same helps us know what to do with it.
I think a way for us to achieve respect and understanding for all Oklahomans is about giving respect and truly listening. I think we have to work to understand so that we can help heal and bring people together. But I think showing respect right off the bat has to be one of the first things. I listened to a wonderful person, Dr. Hypolite at OU, a couple of weeks ago, who talked about diversity and inclusion, and she said, "I'm not looking for just allies, I'm looking for accomplices." And I loved that. I think we have to show action behind those words.
I think OCCJ is strategically placed to be able to make some great things happen because of the work that they've done over the years, the inclusiveness that has always been a part of what they're doing. And so I have appreciated that work, and I see them right now being one of the entities, one of the organizations that I hope will come out of this pandemic virus, this unemployment virus, this law enforcement using of brute force violence, that OCCJ will become, I think, a beacon of light to help us, to guide us into a better place. And I think it is well suited for that.
I don't remember when I first became aware of OCCJ. Maybe it was when they honored Robert. But what I think is a very important function that it provides for the state is to let us know the issues that certain groups are facing. And so by educating us, the entire state, it helps us to address that better, to be aware.
It's pretty much like you spent a dime on prevention as opposed to $1 of cure. This is the prevention. So if you educate people at an early age, you are going to cure the society. So it's better to spend money and let somebody like OCCJ, whose sole mission is to try to educate through dialogue and inclusion, to do their job. And please, if you can, go ahead and help. The reality is, if you don't have money to pay for the programs, you're not going to be able to do much. And to be successful in doing the programs that OCCJ does, we need to raise the funds, and programs like tonight's event is what makes it possible for OCCJ to continue their mission.